All right, here's a couple questions we were asked to find the x-intercepts. So just graphically speaking, what we're looking for is a place where this crosses the x-axis, something like that. So we want to know what that point and that point are. So the first thing I would try is to try and factor. If factoring doesn't work, then I'd resort to the x equals minus b plus or minus thing over 2a minus 4ac. To the quadratic formula, because that'll give you x-intercepts too. You would not use the vertex formula, not going to use that, because that gives you this point down there. It doesn't give you the x-intercepts. So let's try this one here. So I have f of x equals 36x squared minus 12x plus 1. Now the 36, that's looking a whole lot like it should be a 6x here and a 6x there. So I broke that up, and now breaking 1 up, the only options for that would be 1 and 1. This sign is positive, so both signs are the same, and they both have to be negative. So now let's just check that. 6x and 6x, 36x squared. 6x times a minus 1 is a minus 6x. Minus 1 times a 6x is another minus 6x. Together, those give me the minus 12, so that's right. And minus 1 times minus 1 is a plus 1. Therefore, the factoring that I have there is correct. So let me erase all this stuff. Okay, so I factored it correctly. This is equal to f of x. Now, to solve for the x-intercepts, I put a 0 in for y. So this is y, or f of x. You can call it y or f of x. So I put a 0 in for that, and then I solve the equation. That's 1. 0 property, something times something gives me 0. So one of the two have to be 0. So either 6x minus 1 is 0, or 6x minus 1 is 0. Oh, they're both the same. Move the 1 over, and I get 1. Same on this side, a positive 1. And then I divide each side by 6. So my x-intercepts then will be 1/6 and 0. That'll be one of them, and the other one, I guess, is the same thing. So what's happening then with this is that the graph at 1/6 right there, say that's 1 up there, 1/6 would be about there, the graph comes down and touches and then goes back up. Now we can also clarify that it only touches once using this, the discriminant. So if I have b squared minus 4ac, if that comes out to 0, that's supposed to be when it just touches once. So let's try it. So b squared, so negative 12 squared minus 4 times a is 36 times c is a positive 1. Negative 12 squared is 144. 4 times 36 is 144 times 1 is 144. So 144 minus 144 does give you 0. So that confirms that that's the graph should look like that. So you can either say you have one x-intercept. I like saying 2 just because it reminds me that the x-intercept is just going to come down and touch the graph and then go back up. All right, one other question where they're asking for the same thing. They want to know what the x-intercepts of this is. So I look at this one, and first thing I'm going to try is factoring. I see 43 and 38. Yeah, I'm not going to factor that. It's going to have to be going into this formula here. B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x equals a minus something plus or minus something squared minus 4 times a couple of somethings all over 2 times a something. Okay, b is 98, so it's 98, 98. A is 43, and c is 38. And 2 times a is 43. Okay, so it'll give me a negative 98 plus or minus the square root of all of that. That's going to have to be a calculator thing. I'm going to pause to come up with that number. All right, I threw some numbers in there. Let me just go off to the side here. So x equals minus 98 plus or minus. Now this one, the one that's been going in all these is 4. Let me try that. 3068 divide 4. Sure enough, comes out even. So it'd be root 4 root 767 all over 86. Carrying on there, negative 98 plus or minus square root of 4 is 2 root 767 over 86. And now 2 will go into all of these terms, into that, and that. Notice that 2 root 767 is one term. So I'm just going to divide the 2 into the 2, not the 767. Another way you could think of that is factoring out a 2. So I can factor out a 2, and I'd be left with negative 49 plus or minus root 767 all over 43 times 2. So these 2's cancel. There we go. And so my final answer would be negative 49 plus or minus root 767 over 43. Is that one of the answers? Yeah, looks to be that one. All right, hopefully that helps you with those two questions.